You have probably been told to rotate hard through the golf ball. I'm going to tell you and prove to you why doing the complete opposite is actually going to be beneficial for your driving. And I've got some proof and some data to back that up. So let's me hit a drive. We've got the full swing kit down here. I'm just going to try and turn through this as aggressively as I can with my body, really trying to get through the golf ball, and we will see what happens. Oh, well, I'm not even sure whether the full swing is going to pick up that ball flight because it went straight into that tree. So pretty awful. So for me, that clubhead speed was significantly down and the face was way open, which is why I went straight into that tree. So that is likely going to happen when you try and turn your body through the golf ball aggressively. You're going to have reduced speed and you're likely to leave the face open. Let's do a little demonstration. I'm going to take my towel, I'm going to kind of wrap it around my hand. And if I was going to try and crack this towel or whip, let's say the 2-iron in there, it doesn't really matter how fast I move my hand towards my golf bag. I can't really crack that whip. I can't get any speed into the end of the towel. What's actually more important, and obviously we'll relate this back to the golf swing in a moment, is yes, I've got to have some speed in my hand, but it's how quickly I can slow my hand down, how quickly I can decelerate my hand. Because when I do that efficiently, the speed gets transferred to the end of the towel. So just look at the difference. There's nothing in the end of the towel at all. And as soon as I decelerate, big difference. Big difference in what's happening with the end of the towel. I'm basically able to transfer the energy from my hand through to the end of the towel far more efficiently. Now, let's look at a graph. This is called the kinematic sequence. This is showing the rotation of my hips, my torso, my arms, and my club, and how they're moving through the golf swing. And what you'll see is before impact, hips and torso significantly slowing down. That graph is going steeply down. So what we know is in the golf swing, there should be rotational speed in the body, but before impact, those things should slow down significantly. When that happens, it allows speed to get into the golf club. We all want that. And as we get speed into the golf club and we release it, the face is able to square up naturally, or more naturally. When we use rotation all the way through, we get something like this. No speed in the club, face is way open. Let's bring in this. This is an impact bag. Now I appreciate you might not have one of these, but you can use the side of your golf bag, you can use a cushion that you got at home, get a little creative. I'm going to turn the golf club around. I'm going to hold the driver head right by the club shaft. Got a little fly on my wrist. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my normal setup with the grip of the golf club into the end of the bag. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a step back by just over a foot. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to bring my feet a bit closer. I'm going to make a pretty normal backswing. I've got rotation through my hips. I've got rotation through my torso. As I start my downswing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to step forwards towards the golf bag, which now means I can obviously reach the golf bag. Now what's going to happen is my body is rotating away from the target. When I step forwards, I'm going to make my rotation towards the fairway. So I'm going to rotate forwards. But because my lead foot is in front of my trail foot, it's basically going to stop me rotating much further than this. It's kind of blocking off my rotation. So what I'm able to do is I'm able to rotate hard, but brake. This lead foot moving forwards is effectively my braking mechanism. And what that will then do is it will cause the torso to brake. It will then cause the arms to accelerate and the club to accelerate. And what you should start to get is something that looks a bit like this. Makes a good noise, that, doesn't it? Notice how square on my body is. Now that's a little bit extreme. We normally would have the body a little open, bearing in mind this is a drill. But what it's teaching you is it's teaching you the sequence that we want. Yes, of course, from here we want some body rotation. But if that never slows down, the speed never ends up into the grip of the club in this case. We have to rotate and we have to brake. And when we can rotate and brake, the speed gets into the golf club. And to me, that feels really natural. You see there, I'm doing it with one hand because it's sequencing. I can hold that club in just 3 fingers. I don't really feel like I've got a lot of control over it, but if my sequencing is good, then I'm able to really get the speed out into the golf club. That's what great players do, because they appreciate that good sequencing gives them good speed, but it also helps the club square up. So once we then take the golf bag out the way, I mean, the first part to all of this is really just to, never hit drives where you're trying to rotate as aggressive as you can through the golf ball, because that's not what we see the best players in the world do. So how do we then take that into a full swing? Well, what is the braking mechanism when you're actually hitting a golf shot? Because obviously we're not stepping sort of forwards. Well, in the golf swing, the braking mechanism is when you push from the ground. So we know that with drivers, but also all the clubs in the bag, as we begin down, we move pressure into our lead side. So my lead hip stays low, we move our pressure and we apply force under that lead side. As we're doing that, we are rotating. But if I continue to rotate, then we never really get that braking mechanism. What great golfers do is they apply pressure into that lead side, there is pressure into that lead foot, and what they'll then do is they will start to push up from the ground. That push raises the lead hip, straightens the leg, and starts to slow down the rotation through the hips and through the torso. That movement then allows the club to release. So the next little exercise to take from that impact bag drill is one where we push off and back with the driver. So I'm going to do this inside the ball. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a backswing. I'm going to apply pressure. And when I want to release the club, I'm going to push up and off that back foot. And what I'm really doing is I'm applying the brakes. And whilst this looks pretty strange, what you'll start to feel is that as you start to push up and off the ground with that lead foot, the club naturally wants to increase in speed and release. It becomes almost impossible to hold on. It becomes almost impossible to deliver the face open with hands forward, because I can only do that when I've got rotation. When I'm starting to make these movements and push off that lead foot, that's applying the brakes. That's so key. We've explained why. It's that sequence. It's that allows you to get the speed out into the club head. So when you watch great drivers of the golf ball, what do you see them doing through impact? Do you see them turning? Or do you see them pushing up away from the ground? Well, it's the latter. And I'll put some on the screen here so you can see. That push is so key. So what I'm going to do now is hit a shot where I really focus on that push, and we should see the speed increase. And with any luck, the face get a little closer to where it needs to be. And that is a much better drive.